Until next time, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.
Step back, call game like Dame. Now they all know our name. Crossover, then go straight to the hezzy. I'm a dunker like Denny. Small market, yeah, we making it big. Now we got too many cameras. Clinging on guards like Drew. You can't even move, ain't nobody stopping us. Rip City Turner, we making some noise. Pass to the present, we get it like Roy. More to be rockin', we bringing the force. Yang with a dime, that's a bucket, of course. If straight and by the dunk, you gotta move. Young and still hustling like Scoop. Come and tap in, see what's new. Blazers Uprise on the crew.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Blazers Uprise post-game show presented by Sleeper. The Blazers start off 2026 taking care of business for once as they get a 122-109 victory in New Orleans, avenging their last loss in New Orleans where they got run off the floor. Things look a lot better tonight, and the Blazers moved to 15-20 on the season, with a good opportunity to maybe stretch together a couple of wins in their next couple of games as well. Hopefully everybody had a great New Year's. If you joined me earlier today, I did do a little live stream talking about... Whoa, that's loud. That was loud. I did a live stream earlier today talking about the injuries. We'll talk about that again today. I have Eric now, so we'll dive into the Blazers injury report because we actually got one, which is cool. But we're going to break down this game. The Blazers did a lot of good things in this game, at least after the first quarter. The first quarter was a wild quarter where the Blazers had 9 fouls before they were 6 minutes into the game. They had 5 turnovers in the first quarter. Finished the game with only 9 turnovers, so only 4 turnovers the rest of the way. The Blazers looked very undisciplined in the first quarter, and then once they actually cleaned some stuff up, stopped turning the ball over and stopped fouling so much, this became an easy win for them. They were up as many as 20-plus points at one point during this game. So the Blazers take care of business. Eric, what's going on, man? How was your New Year's, and how are you doing?
New Year's was good. Hope all of yours was as well. This game got off to a bit of a rocky start. It looked like New Orleans was going to run us to death out of the gym, and they were protecting the rim well, had a few blocks on the first couple of possessions by the Blazers. I think they had 2 on each of those. It seemed like we were going to be in for a fight all night long. And then the Blazers just calmly got right back in the game. And like you said, took care of the ball the last 3 quarters. And Denny has a huge game. Klingon was a monster after his initial poor first stint. And then Caleb Love once again was huge off the bench. That guy's been playing out of his mind lately, and it's been it's great to see someone step up, and Caleb Love has been the man these last 5 games or so.
Yeah, I've been enjoying Caleb Love minutes. It's a little strange. I went into this most recent stretch still discussing how inefficient he was, but those numbers are rising. He's been very efficient the last 5 or 6 games. This is a really good stretch from him, and I'm starting to actually enjoy watching a two-way player on this team play basketball, which is pretty cool. The Blazers need his scoring off the bench, and he's been huge for them. A big reason why they've won 3 out of 4 games now. But overall, this game was a really nice game compared to what we saw against OKC, where the last post-game show we did of 2025, I felt like we had really nothing good to talk about from that game against OKC. That was just a throwaway game. That's a game that, you try and forget. The thing is, you can forget that game if you then come take care of business in a game like today's game where you're 4.5-point favorites on the road against a super depleted New Orleans team. Yes, they have Zion Williamson, but they had no Trey Murphy. They had no Herb Jones. They had no Derek Queen, who's been a great rookie for them. And I think I'm forgetting a couple other guys that they were without today. So the Blazers came out, and it looked like, oh man, this might be like the last time we ended up in New Orleans. They continued what they showed against OKC, which was a team with nothing redeemable about them. And in the first quarter, pick up 9 fouls in the first 6 minutes. And it just looked like it was going to be another one of those games where they weren't disciplined defensively, even against a depleted team. And they got down by as many as 10 points in the first quarter. And this was despite Shaedon Sharpe and Denny Avdia combining for 20 points in the first quarter. Those guys had it cooking early, and the Blazers still were down 10 points. This looked like it could be a rough game. But they cleaned it up. They started playing more disciplined basketball, and I think that's the theme for this team is when they play disciplined basketball, they're not that bad, even with the injuries and the players that they're missing. The problem is they shoot themselves in the foot a bit too much with the fouls and the turnovers, and it's really hard to win basketball games when you're fouling like crazy and when you're turning over the ball. That's especially how you give life to a young team that's missing some guys and has some of their end of the roster guys playing, just like we do. You give a team like that life by feeding them turnovers, letting them get out and run. The Blazers struggled with that in the first quarter, and then they cleaned things up. 4 turnovers the rest of the way. I don't know how many fouls they ended up with. Let me pull up the I need to add the team stats here. But we'll take a look at the team stats. It was just a far cleaner game after that first quarter, and that's really all that I ask for from this team. I understand they're not going to make a high percentage of threes more often than not, especially with some of the guys at the end of their roster that are playing right now. But just don't shoot yourself in the foot. That's how you give yourself the best chance. No silly turnovers, and stop fouling so freaking much. And they did that, and they get a double-digit win.
Yeah, it's really as simple as that. And, I mean, we gave up just as many offensive rebounds, I guess, but man, it's such a luxury to have. I mean, he's either the best or right up there as the best rebounder offensively in the NBA. And Klingon was just a beast attacking the boards tonight. I think he had 9 offensive rebounds. So even when you don't make shots, you're still getting multiple shots at it. If you combine that with only turning it over 9 times and you get as many second chance opportunities as the Blazers did, that's definitely a recipe for success.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Blazers shoot 45% from the field, 34% from 3, but the Pelicans shoot worse, 27% from behind the arc. The Blazers certainly got threes up, shot more threes than twos in this game, shot 47 of them. Got to the free throw line like they do and made 80% of their free throws. That's a good benchmark. That's a good free throw shooting night, especially compared to some of the rough shooting nights the Blazers have had somewhat recently. 27 assists to only 9 turnovers. That's a 3-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio. That's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. The Blazers had maybe their best passing transition possession of the year, where there was a hit-ahead pass to Robert Williams running on the break of all people, and then he found Shea for a dunk. I thought that was a really impressive transition possession. They lose the paint points battle. Pelicans score 68 points in the paint, but they weren't making threes, and they played downhill, especially when you have Zion. And the thing is the Blazers were fouling Zion early, and he was still scoring. They were giving up and ones. It was almost like they got more stops when they stopped fouling. It was kind of strange like that, you know. It's in the first quarter, it felt like not only were they giving up buckets, but also fouling. And they just clean things up, man. It's as simple as that. And I know they wanted to set the tone to be in the physical defense this year. They envy what OKC does and how they're able to play physical, but I think the difference has been is OKC knows how to play physical and get away with it, where Portland, as is evident by how many free throws, how many fouls they've given up this year, the Blazers don't quite know how to play physical without picking up a ton of fouls. That's how you end up with 9 fouls in less than 6 minutes. That was not pretty. So shout out to Tiago, because I'm sure he made that a point of emphasis after the Blazers struggled early on with the foul trouble in this game. And they were actually able to fix something mid-game after that first quarter. So really, really proud of how they adjusted and how they stopped freaking fouling, because it's been driving me crazy, and it drove me crazy to start this game.
Yeah, absolutely. They actually had an interesting foul situation. I don't know if this was on purpose, but I've never actually thought about this, Tori. But it seemed like they kind of did this smartly, and that was use a foul to give before the 2 minutes to where if you foul twice, then you're in the bonus automatically. But they had a situation where they only had 2 team fouls, and they committed a foul with just over 2 minutes left. And it was like kind of I think it was Sharp who fouled, and he went for a steal. And it was good, because if you get the steal, that's obviously a good play. But if you foul, it like has no consequence on what happens. And that's the type of things you can do if you're not always in foul trouble in a quarter. And I mean, I don't know if I explained that right, if you understood what I was saying.
Yeah, 1,000%. So for anybody that doesn't understand the rule, it's once you have 2 fouls in the final 2 minutes, they get sent to the free throw line, right? And once you get 5 fouls for the quarter, you get in the penalty, they get sent to the free throw line. So if you have 2 fouls or less before that 2-minute mark, you have a foul to give essentially, because if you get your 3rd foul right before the 2-minute mark, it's still 2 fouls in the final 2 minutes to get into the penalty, just like it would have been regardless. So you kind of get a free foul, and the thing is we're rarely ever in that position where we have 2 fouls around 2 minutes left to go in the game. So that's a unique position for us because we foul so much.
Exactly. And it has to be, Sharp was one of the only players in the game that wasn't in foul trouble, because Klingon picked up a couple early ones. I think Denny had 2 fouls early. So we had guys that were in foul trouble. Someone else had 3 fouls at that point. I think it was Chris Murray. But yeah, so you don't want to, if you have like 2 or 3 fouls at that point in the first half, you don't want to pick up your 3rd or potentially 4th foul in that situation. But if you have no fouls or you're not in foul trouble, I just thought that was a really smart play to, like, why not be like over aggressive on that possession until the clock hits 2 minutes, because you basically have a free foul to give if they call it.
Yeah, and I know that's like a little thing to people, but I've talked about this. The Blazers have struggled this year with playing based on the game that's happening, right? And what I mean by that is some games refs will let some contact go and you basically can be more physical. Some games refs are going to call ticky-tack fouls. If you're getting called for that, you have to adjust. This was one of those games where they were getting called for that in the first quarter, and they adjusted. We've seen plenty of games where they're getting called for ticky-tack fouls, but they don't understand that they have to dial back the physicality just a little bit so they don't end up in foul trouble, don't end up sending a team to the free throw line all game long. So this game was better than a lot of other games this year in terms of, all right, they're calling fouls early on. We have 9 fouls in less than 6 minutes. We just have to be solid. We have to dial back the physicality a little bit, try and go straight up, protecting the rim. Klingon did a better job of that the final 3 quarters, and adjust to the way the game is being called, right? I was really, really happy with that. And I think, that's something that I've criticized this coaching staff for, just the situational coaching based on the flow of the game, making adjustments in game, that sort of thing. So that's why I'm pretty pleased with this game.
Yeah, my outside of the first quarter, my only gripe with the last 3 quarters is I know you blew a game against the Kings when you're up 15 with a couple minutes left. That rarely ever happens, and I doubt it would. I mean, I'm not going to say that because the chances of that happening again are so minuscule that I feel like you can't coach in fear of that happening again. So the Blazers got up 21 with like 5 minutes left. I think you have to, with a game tomorrow night, you have to pull your starters at that point, and they end up having to stay in. And then they lose a little bit of the lead. I think New Orleans cut it to 12 or something at one point. So the starters had to stay in. Denny ends up with 38 minutes. You could have easily rested those guys, I think, and still have been okay, even if you let it get down to about 4 minutes left. And so that was my only kind of coaching misstep of the night. I feel like you can't coach in fear that you're always going to blow a huge lead with a few minutes left. And I felt like the starter should have been taken out of this game. Rob Will could have stayed in because he's not going to play tomorrow night, but everyone else should have gone to the bench and gotten some rest for tomorrow night.
See, I agree with you, but also with our issues closing games and some of the guys that would have been playing, would have shocked me if they subbed in the end of the bench and then blew a game like this. It wouldn't have shocked me. So if it wouldn't have shocked me, I can't really critique not going to those guys because that would have been a disastrous thing to have happen, and we've really struggled in that regard. So I think this was just a good rep just for the starters to deal with some pressure. Caleb Love there in at the end of the game to deal with some pressure, work on breaking the pressure, work on not turning the ball over. Denny had a really bad turnover, and they did make a little bit of a run. So, well, I agree with you. I also think
they went on a run against our starters.
Yeah, I also think, though, like an extra 3 or 4 minutes of rest should not make a difference tomorrow, win or loss. Like, if it makes that much of a difference, then you're probably not in good shape if 3 to 4 minutes doesn't make good enough difference the following night. So I do agree with the sentiment, though. You would like to. You're going up against a really bad team. You would like to get the starters some rest so Denny's not playing over 38 minutes on the first night of a back-to-back in a game that you do have control of. But the devil's advocate is essentially they've lost control of leads that were just as big. So they kind of need reps controlling a game with like a double-digit lead in the final 3 to 4 minutes, because unfortunately they're not up double digits at the end of games often at all. It's a lot of close games, which is good for learning how to execute crunch time situations, but it's a little different when you're playing with a 10 to 15 to 18 point lead in the final 4 or 5 minutes of the fourth quarter. So I do think this was good reps for him. Denny got a couple buckets, went on the ground there. I don't like that in the final moments. I don't like him taking hits with the situation that the game was in, but I do understand why he didn't.
I mean, we got it back up to 21 with like 3 minutes left, and then we're at -8 those last 3 minutes. So was it really that beneficial?
Could it have been a -21? I bet you
mean,
it could have. Young out there trying to, airballing threes and throwing turnovers. I mean,
yes, that could have happened. Like I said, you should have kept Rob Will out because he's not playing tomorrow. But I don't know. It feels like you have to be able to rest your starters.
Well,
and maybe New Orleans pulls their starters too if we pull ours.
The problem is like who's your end of game lineup? Who handles the ball at all against pressure in your end of game lineup?
Well, Caleb, I guess, could have stayed out too, but
Caleb's like your only guy, you're going to put Repair out there with the way that he can get turned over, like Young, Robert Williams, and who else, you know what I mean? Like, that's a team that I could see turning over the ball again a ton against pressure. The problem is you don't have, like, we've talked about with the end of the bench, you don't really have much ball handling or shooting there, so I understand not having confidence in those guys to break a press, so you're just going to keep rolling with the starters.
True. Dude, Tori, we finally saw them run a press break play, and it was beautiful. I don't know if you remember this. I forgot who they inbounded it to, but Tamani inbounded it, and then he just streaked down the middle, and they went to double team the guy in the corner, and he just passed to Tamani, and he was wide open, dribbling up the court. That's all you have to do. It's so simple, but it takes like an actual plan to attack it, and the Blazers actually ran it. I think they like pulled it back out. They could have easily scored on it, but it was such a good press break, and that's all you have to do sometimes is just pass to a guy streaking down the middle, and that's wide open when they overpressure the first pass. And so, yeah, I was happy that the Blazers at least did that once in this game.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm talking about when I say, like, I think it was good to get some reps in that situation, even though they had the game in hand. Like, that's something they've struggled so much with, that just getting a rep to run the play that you're talking about, run a press break. They don't have a ton of practice time. Sometimes when you're playing a bunch of games, your practice time comes in a situation like that where you're up 15 points, you got 3-4 minutes left, they're pressing because they're trying to force turnovers to have a chance of getting back in the game. All right, now you're working on your press break. Maybe you take a timeout, set it up, like, all right, guys, we need to execute this. So I think overall this was even though I do get the sentiment. You want to rest your guys on the first night of a back-to-back going against San Antonio tomorrow on the road. but it's not like they got nothing out of it, in my opinion.
Right. So Denny has been incredibly durable this year. Like it's amazing how much.
Knock on wood. I don't even want to say that.
I was knocking on wood while we say that. I'm saying it's incredible with how much weight is on his shoulders right now, how much he has to carry, and how like physical he is through these games, that he hasn't missed a game yet. And but like I feel like it's kind of tempting fate a little bit to to play him 38 minutes in this game where we win or should have won quite easily at one point. So my only thing is like at some point you can't just keep doing this to Denny and expect him to hold up through 82 games. So I mean, he might surprise us and do that, but I wouldn't risk it as much as possible. I would try to get him a little bit of rest, because he comes in at the beginning of the fourth quarter and I don't think he subbed out the whole fourth quarter after just getting a little rest at the end of the third. So yeah, I don't know, man. You got to find a way to sit him for a couple minutes in that fourth quarter when you're up that much.
Yeah, I just feel like it can easily be hindsight. We've seen him sit and the other team goes on an 8-0 run, and it's like, okay, gotta get Denny back in, and then Denny has to like really carry. So we'll talk about Denny. He played great today. We'll talk about Sharp. He scored the ball today. He plays 40 minutes today. Denny plays around 38. Tamani, solid game. Donovan Clingan, like you said, slow start, but man, he shows something offensively every game, and I can't wait to talk about that. And then Caleb Love, big game for him. The Blazers really struggled to contain Zion, but it didn't matter. Zion was 35 points for the Pelicans today in 32 minutes. It's good to see him healthy. Just how long is that going to last? And it also sucks when he's healthy and just wasting performances on a team that's this bad and losing games like this and has no help. It's like you only get so many healthy Zion games a year. But, if he's able to be healthy to the trade deadline, maybe they look to move him. Not really sure what their plan is. I'm not sure they know what their plan is.
You're right. So early in this game, I felt like they were reaching too much on him. And once he gets ahead of steam, you cannot just like reach in and try to steal the ball from him, because one, you're not going to get it from him. Mm-hmm. He's too big. And two, he just absorbs your contact, and he's just going to go through it and score whether you touch him or not. So I thought the Blazers did a good job. Donovan in particular started going a little bit more straight up, and the Blazers stopped reaching in on him, and they just kind of let him shoot once he got that full head of steam. And it might seem like it's a little you're letting him off a little too easy, but it's much better to do that, in my opinion, than to let him get and ones, because he could easily play through contact.
Yeah, that, and also we needed Clingan to give us a bunch of minutes tonight. He ends up playing. Where are the minutes wrong here? He ends up playing. Sorry, let me get to the box score here. He plays 29 minutes, almost 30 minutes. When you're having to play Young with Robert Williams because you're so depleted, it's important to be able to get a lot of minutes out of Clingan. And with the foul trouble that he looked like he could end up in early, it was impressive to me how he doesn't pick up another foul the rest of the game. He picked up those 2 early ones, ended with 2. So really good for him to be able to churn minutes out, especially with the impact he's having right now. 9 offensive rebounds. Like he's not 20 point per game scorer, but I do think he does a ton for this offense to make it easier on just the offense in general when you're collecting misses, right? Those are just extra shots to get buckets. But then also I do think he does do a good job of screening and being a dump-off threat for Denny and for Sharp or whoever's driving. And unfortunately, nobody else really makes it much easier on Denny and Sharp. So it's nice to have Clingan out there having the offensive impact he's been having lately. So it was really important for him to churn out minutes. You could not survive with Morjan Hansen tonight. He was horrible in his minute and a half that he played. So But that's just where, okay, you got to know the situation. You got to know you're shorthanded. You can't be in foul trouble. We can't get by with 18 minutes from Donovan Clingan tonight because he has 5 fouls. So that's what I'm talking about with the awareness of the situation that you're in and just being disciplined, just trying to play smarter basketball. Because I think that's the biggest issue that's plagued this team is the lack of discipline defensively, sometimes the lack of discipline in terms of the shots that they're taking, the lack of discipline in terms of some of the turnovers they have. So that's the theme for 2026 and for the rest of the season. Can they play more disciplined basketball? Because as they start to get guys back, if they can get some of these guys healthy and play more disciplined basketball, they got a real legitimate shot to be 500 or better at the end of the season.
Yeah, and that goes along with the turnovers too. So only having 9 for the game after that first quarter, that just shows both with the fouls and the turnovers. Those are probably 2 of the most things indicative of whether you're focused and locked in and not making stupid decisions. So to clean both of those up during the game when it could have easily just gotten completely out of hand, I thought was really impressive by everyone involved tonight. And you also you're muted, but you mentioned the Klingon stuff on offense, even though he's not scoring a lot of points. Tori, there was a play in this game I absolutely loved. It was the lob from Denny to him in the second half, and normally Donovan would just camp out at the 3-point line in that situation. He was on the near side 3-point line, and he actually saw an opening in the defense and cut to the basket. And as he was cutting, he pointed up to Denny to throw him a lob, and Denny did. And I just thought it was wonderful of him to actually cut and not just sit around the 3-point line like he had been doing a lot this year. And as he's gotten more involved around the basket, it's really blossomed his game and shown another level of things he can do. And Thiago mentioned this in his post game. Donovan had several offensive rebounds where he started from the 3-point line and crashed the board really hard when the shot went up and just somehow willed himself to get a rebound in traffic and stuff like that. And just really, those are like huge momentum plays in the game. And it's so deflating to the Pelicans who play good defense and get a stop. And then, nope, you don't, because Donovan's cleaning up every offensive rebound. And I think Rob Will's also doing a good job when he comes in the game of doing that as well. Mm-hmm. But for some reason, when Young and we played the 2 bigs together and they can't get a single rebound while they're in the game, it was brutal. So I don't know what the heck is going on there. But yeah, the main guys that played tonight just did so many little things well in this game, and it was nice to see.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Shout out to Colonel Pancakes with the, let me pull it up here, $5 donation. Thank you, Mr. Pancakes. Says, need to start having a conversation whether Denny is a top 10 player at this point. This isn't normal. We might have 5 wins without him. Yeah, I think top 10 might be a little bit high, but he's in the conversation with like 20 all-stars, you know what I mean? Like Jalen Johnson's playing great basketball. He's in that conversation. I think this year in terms of top 10 seasons this year, obviously you have some stars out. There's just a lot of great talent in the league right now, but Denny, I will say Denny is having a top 20 season for sure. Like he is having a true all-star season, and it's getting to the point where like he's in the same conversation as I mean, like he's having a better season than LeBron so far. Like there's some true legitimate stars that you can easily make a case that Denny's having a better season than. And it's really cool to be able to include him in conversations with guys that have been stars for years, some really big names across the league. We've been talking about we've talked about the difficulties of finding a top 20 player. And normally the Blazers aren't going to be able to do it via trade. Normally it's they have to draft him, right? They drafted Dame, they drafted Clyde, they drafted Brandon Roy, they drafted LaMarcus Aldridge. Like, when have they ever traded for a guy who then is a top 20 player? I can't remember. right? They never get these types of guys via trade. So to be able to get a guy who's young like Denny, who's on a great contract, but then you didn't give up a ton to get him. If anything, I guess you bought low, even though he was coming off a career year when the Blazers traded for him. You gave up Bub Carrington. You gave up a guy who's retired now, and you gave up the second best pick in 2029 between three teams when you have the best pick. So you automatically have a pick that's better than it. To get a guy that's now playing like a top 15, top 20 player in the league who's in these conversations with these stars is huge. I envied New York because they basically got Jalen Brunson for free in free agency, and now he's borderline superstar there in New York. And it was like, man, why can't we ever be the team that just, doesn't pay much, either it's trade or free agency, and we find our way into a top 10 or top 15 player? Well, we finally did it with Denny. So watching him torch teams the way he was doing, hitting tough threes today, he's been hitting the mid-range lately. He's added that to his bag. It was funny because he that pass you were talking about to Klingon, he basically used the threat of his mid-range shot to lift the defense a little bit to throw it over the top to Klingon. And he didn't telegraph the pass. It looked like it was a shot until he passed it. The creativity with some of his passing. 11 assists again today. He's playing like a true, legitimate all-star. If he's not in the all-star game, I will riot. Especially now, Nikola Jokic, hopefully he gets healthy soon, but I don't expect him to play, so that's a spot open in the West. But I hope Denny just gets in, not even as an injury replacement, just gets in on merit because he deserves it for sure.
As Haberstroh said tonight during the Blazer broadcast, it's 100% of the players that have averaged what he's averaging right now. I think it was like 25, 7, and 6 since 2000. Every single one of them have made the All-Star game. So, yeah, at this point, I'd be shocked if he was not an All-Star. He has to be, right?
You would think so, but I mean, I've seen people that do know what they're talking about put together like all-star teams, justifications for why, and they've left them out. And it's because you got like Jamal Murray playing great basketball, I think he's averaging like 24 and 6, right? Where Denny's stats are a little bit better, but he's on a winning team. So if there's anything that might make it questionable, it's if the Blazers don't have a good enough record. I think part of it too is you have so much offensive talent that is putting up impressive statistical lines right now across the league that, yeah, we can sit here and say nobody with a stat line has ever missed, but also I don't know if there's ever been a collection of players, especially in the Western Conference, that have had such good stat lines as right now. So I don't think it's a 100% given, but I don't think that's due to Denny not playing well enough. He is certainly, without a shadow of a doubt, playing like a bona fide star right now. We've seen Dame get snubbed, though, so...
True.
I do think there is a small chance that he might get snubbed, or it might be like injury replacement for Jokic type of thing because they decide to put in, a guy like Jamal Murray, especially if he carries the Nuggets the next couple of weeks without Jokic. He put up 34 points today. It's going to be interesting to watch. We haven't paid attention to All-Star conversations the past couple of years because there's been no reason to. So it's cool to finally be back to paying attention to All-Star conversations for sure.
Also, it kind of depends on what other coaches and players feel about Denny. If they think he's doing this with, how I'm not saying this is true, but you know how there's the narrative that he's doing it foul baiting or whatever.
Players know better. Players don't think like Twitter heads. Like defensively, he puts defenders in a real tough spot all game long, and if you have to guard him, I think Twitter in online circles, they'll just go to the box score, see how many free throws he shot, and then go on Twitter just to call him unethical. All right, that's the internet for you.
I thought some players were, I forget which players, but I thought there were some current players talking about him in a negative way on some podcasts recently, but I could be mistaken about that. But yeah, I don't know. That'd be the only other way I think he wouldn't get in, as if for some reason the players didn't like what he was doing or something.
Shout out to Tristan, $5 donation, says, why is Javonte Cook still on the roster? Cut him and get someone like DJ Rodman, someone who will actually produce. DJ Rodman will actually produce. I mean, maybe you're right, and nobody knows yet. But thank you for the donation. Shout out to Muvsy with the 14. He always donates 14 Canadian dollars. I don't know why it's specifically 14. Maybe that's his number. But shout out to Muvsy with the 14 Canadian dollar donation. Says, "What did I say? Easy win." We lost this game last time we played them. And I think we were favored about the same in that game. So you never go into a Blazer game expecting an easy win. Shoot, I don't go into the last 2 minutes up 15 anymore expecting it to be an easy win. So, been burned way too many times. Thank you for the donation. And then Mr. Pine, member for 43 months, says, W, thanks for all the content, fellas. Of course. Ready and rolling for 2026, man. Great way to start the year. Let's look at some of the box scores here. Let me update this. Okay. So, 34-7-11 for Denny. Since we're talking about him, if you have anything to add, but just a phenomenal stat line. Some of the finishes he has, this is what drives me crazy about the narrative, that he just drives out of control to draw fouls. He finishes so many and ones. The broadcast was saying he's second in the league. He had multiple and ones in this game where he's finishing these plays, he's drawing fouls. Just super impressive body control, and I like that he started to get rolling a little bit from three. He was 3 for 5 from three in this game because he had been slumping a little bit. I believe he was shooting 30. I believe he shot 31% from three in the month of December. So nice to see him knock down some threes, especially some tough threes in this game, and get back to hitting those jump shots, and just a super all-around efficient game. 19 shots, 34 points. I will say he had 20 points with like 8 minutes left in the second quarter. Yeah. So he goes almost 3 quarters where he's playing a ton and scores 14 points. Like, this is a game he should have had 45 points, in my opinion. Because he started to get a little passive there in the second quarter after he had 20 points. It was absolutely cooking and nobody could guard him. There's one play that stood out to me where Jordan Hawkins was on him, and Jordan Hawkins might be the worst player in the league, dude. That dude is so bad. Like, I don't know what happened. How did he cook us last year? You remember when he cooked us last year? I guess he's lost all his confidence or something, but like fouling Chris Murray on a three was freaking brutal. Dribbling the ball out of bounds. He had a rough game. But he was guarding Denny, and Denny drives and gets to the free throw line and has some space to continue to just like back him down or shoot over him or whatever. And he kicks it to Love, who then kicks it to City Sissoko with 5 seconds on the shot clock. And Sissoko ended up shooting a turnaround fadeaway, like 5 to 6 footer, and he almost airballed. And it was like, Denny, you have Hawkins on you. They didn't even double you. Go score the ball. He can't guard you. He literally can't. Their whole team can't guard you, but especially him. He's 4 or 5 inches shorter than you. He's not a good defensive player. He's undersized, and he's going to guard you at the free throw line. Go score the freaking ball, man. I just think there's stretches where he gets a little bit too unselfish in situations where he should shoot. And those are situations where he's not, like, finding teammates for buckets. Like, this should have been a game he had 45 points with his 11 assists, because I think there was a few opportunities he easily could have went and scored more points if he just remained aggressive, and instead he'd kick it out to Caleb Love, swing the ball to City Sissoko, and then the possession is ruined. So I don't know if you know what play I'm talking about, Eric, but like that sort of stuff is where I just wish he would remain even more aggressive and have 25 shots in a game like tonight.
Yeah. There was that one too where he had I don't think this is the same play, but there was that one where he had, like, he stopped, did like a pivot step, pump faked, got the defender in the air, and then I think he ended up passing out of it, right? Or he tried to throw a wraparound pass to the big. I forget if it was Donovan or Robert at the time, but it got stripped or whatever. That was one of his only 2 turnovers. But I was like, dude, you just made like four moves on one play, and you just freaking shoot the ball. But yeah, we've talked about this before. I do almost think he's he's not being aggressive enough at times, and that's crazy to say. But he's shown he had that one nice step back jumper off of on Alvarado, and yeah, I really like it. I mean, I was so pissed when he got that turnover late in the game because I was really excited about. I mean, it's still 11-2. It's awesome. Don't get me wrong, but like, I was really excited that he only had one turnover to that point in the game, and it was off a play he shouldn't even have passed the ball.
Yeah, exactly. Connor in chat was talking about Tristan Zonation, talking about cutting Javonte Cook for DJ Rodman to get somebody who can produce. And in Connor in chat, I lost the comment, but basically was saying something like it was a reference maybe towards the Yahoo trade rumor about trade talks, advanced trade talks between the Lakers and the Blazers or something like that. So I looked it up. It's a website called Total Pro Sports is what I found out. I've never heard of it. And it references a tweet from @PlayoffJake, whoever the hell that is, that has a tweet that said, breaking, the Lakers and Trailblazers are in advanced discussions on a trade that would send defensive wing Tamati Kamara to LA. Nowhere is there anything regarding DJ Rodman, number one, but number two, that's obviously a fake trade. So, no idea. But the Yahoo rumor, Cotter, not a real rumor. You remember when I used to do the videos? Is this rumor a real rumor? Where I tried to teach people how to spot fake rumors. Well, it's not a real rumor. Playoff Jake, not a real reporter.
Tori, I've looked at this like 10 times because like I want to make sure, right? Keith Smith does spot track now. Spot track.
Yeah.
However you say it. So Tamati Kamara says he's not eligible to be traded till April 16th, which is after the trade deadline. So
Yeah.
Tamati Kamara is not even able to be traded this year, if you ever see a trade rumor with Tamati Kamara in it, it's bullshit. It's like it's not true. And then it also says Shaden Sharp's not eligible to be traded until July 1st. So neither of those guys are eligible to be traded anymore.
Yeah. Also, DJ Rodman plays for the Hornets G League. And listen, if he's having a good G League season and that's your gem, I respect the hell out of it because I certainly have mine. I just don't know much about him. So I know he played at USC.
Was it USC? Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't pay enough attention to the G League. I pay attention to college basketball and the NBA, and that's already a lot for me. So shout out to Minimum Pulse. $5 donation says, do you guys think there's any chance Caleb Love could develop into a real piece of our young core for the future? All right. Let's talk Caleb Love's game because once again, he has a good game. He's 6 for 11 from 3, 7 for 13 from the field, 22 points. So we talk about how he needs to have a large sample to kind of change my thoughts on him. He's still inefficient on the season. He's having a really good 6-game stretch. I mean, I've seen this guy have really good 6-game stretches in college. Like, he can be streaky within a game, but then also he can have these hot streaks where he's making shots. And on average, it always tends to regress back to him being like a 30 to 34% three-point shooter in college. You can go look at his numbers. You can go look at his game logs and see this. Now, he does have offensive ability. It's just always been about him being more consistent. 6 games of consistency is nice, and it's helping this team win games. I mean, he's averaging probably around 17 or 18 points per game the last 6 games, and here's his 3-point shooting numbers the last 6 games. 3 for 8, 3 for 7, 4 for 10, 6 for 10, 2 for 7, 6 for 11. That's obviously really, really good. But the 6 games before that, 0 for 3, 0 for 1, 1 for 4, 2 for 2, 0 for 5, 0 for 4. The game before that, 0 for 2. Right? So can he just start being more consistent is the question. But even if he is, next year he's a third guard. Like, if he can do this a little bit more often the rest of the season, I'm completely fine with Portland saying, here's a 3-year contract, cheap cheap contract because he's a rookie, two-way guy. So here's a cheap 3-year contract. This is going to be our, fifth guard next year behind Dame, Drew, Scoot, and Sharp. Like, I am cool with that, right? And if he continues to develop in the next year's trade deadline, maybe you have a trade where you're consolidating some pieces and maybe he filters in as like a fringe rotation guy, like fine. That's also good insurance in case of injury, which obviously we need. And this is if he continues to play the way he's playing. He can't go back to like playing the way he did before the 6-game stretch where he was one of the most inefficient, high usage volume shooting guys in the league. He had a true shooting percentage before the stretch of 43%. That is horrible. That is horrible efficiency. He was coming in and providing absolutely nothing before the 6-game stretch. So, question number 1. Is the 6-game stretch a sign of more things to come, or is this just a hot 6-game stretch and he's still going to be insanely inefficient? All right, let's say the 6-game stretch is real. Then you can have the conversation about him maybe being the fifth guard behind those guys. But I don't see any world where all of a sudden he should be inserted into conversations next to Shaedon Sharp, or obviously next to Damian Lillard or Drew Holiday or Scoot Henderson. Like, those guys are a tier above him. And him having hot shooting games isn't going to change that. So we can talk about his game today and how he played well, but I think every conversation for the future is going to be along those lines. Let me know, Eric, if you disagree with any of that or what your thoughts are. Thank you, Minimum Pulse, for the donation.
So we know but prior to these 6 games, he's been a wildly inconsistent shot chucking, high volume, inefficient shooter. And we have ample sample size of that. It's inarguable that
we have 6 years of sample of that.
What he was prior to this, and much like, we discussed this in the in our group chat during the game. It's a lot like Delano Banton, right? Like, you have a game, I think, in New Orleans last year where he scores like 20 points in the fourth quarter, and he has huge stretches of hot games and then disappears for large stretches.
And now he's not in the league.
Now, Caleb Love is a rookie. He's a very old rookie, so that's why I don't give him the same slack as like a normal rookie necessarily. However, after saying all that, if this guy can learn to not play like he's the star player, if he takes these shots where he's wide open off Denny kickouts, and not only will that improve his efficiency, it's a lot like what we were talking about with some of Sharp's threes earlier in the season, right? Where he's just taking horrible pull-up threes coming down the court with like 14 on the shot clock and stuff like that. If he can eliminate those, it's difficult for a player who's been like the guy on every team he's been on, or thinks he's the guy on every team he's been on, to become like a piece that just fits into the team. And that was one of my issues when I saw him play even earlier in the season and in preseason and stuff like that. It seemed like he was playing like he is the man at Arizona or North Carolina, when he is at best usually like the third, fourth, maybe even fifth best player in a lineup in a game at a certain point. So you can't come in and play. So I'll compare it real quick to Sidi Sissoko. Comes in the game in the second quarter. In the first possession he's in, he takes a deep three with like 12 on the shot clock with a guy in his face. It's like, what are you doing shooting that shot? You should never shoot that shot in a game, right? And then a couple plays later was the play you were talking about, I think, where he, like, I know what the shot clock was running out, but he's not going to make like that fadeaway 10-foot shot like more than once out of 10 times. So like, recognize who you are and your limitations, And I feel like during this stretch, Caleb, he's still getting a ton of shots, but that's mostly because Denny's creating all these shots, and Denny is collapsing the defense, and they still haven't adjusted to having to respect the shooter on the Blazers. So I think that's part of it. As he continues to do this, then we'll see how he adjusts to teams like staying home on him and just leaving the other players, if he can still be effective. But at least right now, if he can just be like, okay, I don't have to be a star, I'm just going to make teams pay. This is easy. Like for a player like Caleb Love, he's actually like a gifted player. His shot mechanics look pretty good. Like there's no reason he can't be a good shooter. So if he has that mindset of, man, this is simple. I don't even have to create shots. I just have to stand here and make threes when people pass out to where, more particularly, Denny passes out to me. Like this is like the easiest I've had to play like before. So if he can do that, I think there is a place for him. Either I don't know if it's like on in a rotation on a good team right now, but like he could definitely help.
If we're saying that,
yeah, he could definitely help a team if he plays like this consistently. But he's got to accept that role and not try to do too much, in my opinion. So the minute he goes back to ball hogging or doing stuff, and he also, in my mind, like he's had a couple of good passes, but it's similar to Sharp, only I think it's almost more magnified with Caleb Love because he's smaller and he's more of a point guard size. Like you have to be able to pass the ball too and do that. So if he can just improve his passing a little bit, his assists on top of the shooting he's displayed, and then just focus on being that killer when you're wide open and getting kicked out, taking good shots, I think he can be a decent role player. I don't know how much more he can be than that because, like I said, anytime he tries to be more than that, it doesn't go particularly well.
Yeah.
But I do feel like he's doing a much better job of, like, he's got like a rapport with Denny right now. They talked about it during the game. Denny mentioned it after the game, how he's been talking to him about shooting the ball with confidence when he passes out to him. And so I do think, obviously, on a team that desperately needs someone to be able to knock down shots, if he can just simply go into games thinking, okay, look how easy this is in the NBA compared to how hard it was to score in college or whatever, where you have to be like the defensive focal point and you have to like go against like zone defenses and stuff like that. Like, look how much better I can space the floor and get wide open shots instead of having to like use all my energy creating these shots. And there's absolutely no reason why a player of his caliber in terms of shooting wise should ever shoot 25% from the field or whatever he was shooting earlier in the season. Like that just, his numbers never matched the way he played. So if his numbers actually do start to match his abilities, then maybe we can talk about it. But I'm going to need 6 years versus 6 games. I am going to need a bigger sample size to buy into it.
Yeah, because I want to show you guys something. I don't know if this scene is like set up correctly. Okay, let me here. I want to show you guys something. Okay.
And I know people in chat
so
like
go ahead.
Like Eric Olson in chat says, I have a lot more confidence when the ball swings to Love than Murray. Yeah, no crap, dude. Like obviously, like that's not what we're talking about, but obviously right now, pretty much anyone on our team outside of Tamani, Sharp, and Denny, if they're getting kicked out for a 3, or maybe you can include Clingan after, despite him missing all of them tonight, but outside of basically our starters, our 4 main starters that are playing, I would absolutely want Love getting kicked out too versus any of those other guys. Chris Murray,
Yeah.
City Sissoko, like that's not even a question about.
Well, yeah, it's because those guys all suck at shooting. So, like, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very low bar, though. But I just want to show you guys this, okay? So, hopefully this is zoomed in enough for you guys. This is just a game log from a certain Blazer last year, right? Okay. So, after this stretch of games, there was some Blazer fans that started to put this guy in untouchable conversations, which was just like completely insane. But there's a lot of people like, oh, this dude's a part of the core. This dude's a part of the future. Like, start talking him up. Like, maybe he's better than Scoot. Blah, 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 blah. Like, bunch of crap like that because of this stretch right here. And this is a good, 9-game stretch, right? This player is no longer in the league. This player, of course, is Delano Banton. But, like, the same people were asking the same stuff after, like, this 23-point game. And I'm not saying that Caleb Love isn't better than Delano Banton. This isn't necessarily a comparison at all between Delano Banton and Caleb Love. This is to illustrate a point. And the point is, when you have players that shoot a lot, that have a hot stretch, don't get too far ahead of yourself, and also don't be so reactionary in the moment when a player's playing well to then start having these huge conversations. Because I'm sure on this post-game show, I was saying Delano played really well. This is a good win against Atlanta, 114-110. But let's pause the brakes on inserting him in conversations about him being a big part of the future, him being in the conversation with our other guards and this and that. And look how it played out. He's not on the team. He's not even in the league now. And this is like a year later. So while the stretch from Caleb, the point is, the stretch from Caleb is great. Like, it doesn't necessarily prove that this is now who he is. He's having a really good shooting stretch. And the truth is probably somewhere in the middle between what he was before the stretch and what he is right now. And going into this game, he had a true shooting percentage on the season of 47.8%. Okay, so that's going to rise today. He was very efficient today. But this is the thing that sucks is, like, instead of coming on here, and I don't blame people for asking the question, right? So I appreciate the question for sure. But, like, instead of coming on here talking about how Caleb Love played a good game, it's like, okay, we need to pump the brakes a little bit on the conversations about, like, putting him in the conversation with our guards that are better than him, if that makes sense. So, because some people are ready after somebody has a good game or a good 6-game stretch. There are Blazer fans, unfortunately, that are ready to then act like that means the world. And now Delano Banton's in conversations with Scoot. See, Delano's better than Scoot. Unfortunately, we haven't gotten to see Scoot play. That's why Caleb Love's playing, but I'm sure there's people that are ready to start having those conversations like we should trade Scoot and keep Caleb Love and sell low on Scoot. Like, those conversations. Oh, Eric got collab camped. Didn't even know because I didn't have the camera up. Those are the conversations that I just don't, I don't like how people could get a little bit ahead of themselves and be a little bit overreactionary in the moment. So, listen, if Caleb Love, the last 6 games, if he can play like that every single game and shoot 50% from 3 or whatever, sure, insert him in whatever conversations you want. Insert him in Steph conversations if he could shoot 50% from 3 all the time, right? But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's appreciate the way he's playing right now because it's needed off this bench that can't score, can't do anything. This is the type of guy that I guess the Blazers needed. And I wasn't singing that tune before this stretch because he was so inefficient. The Blazers just have way too many inefficient shooters. But the guy we've seen the last 6 games is the type of guy the Blazers need at the end of their bench to provide some offensive punch because there's a bunch of guys that provide no offensive punch at all at the end of this roster. So it's been very, very needed and very, very valuable to have his scoring off the bench these last 6 games. Let's hope he keeps it up because it doesn't sound like Drew or Scoot. We'll talk about the injuries. It doesn't sound like those guys are going to come back in the next week or 2. Maybe Drew in the next 2 weeks, I think, has a chance, but Scoot, he's being reevaluated in 2 weeks, so the Blazers are going to continue to need some scoring punch off their bench at a guard spot. So let's focus on that first before we start having long-term conversations because I still don't even know exactly what Caleb Love is right now. But I know that he's been inconsistent for 5 years in college, playing at the highest level in college, and then he's been pretty inconsistent this year. This is the first stretch where he's strung together multiple games in a row, so let's just see how the rest of his season plays out.
Yeah, and then the only thing I want to say about Caleb is he isn't the greatest defender, but man, is he competing his butt off on that end, and that's all you can ask for someone like him who hasn't really had to play a lot of defense or like been a guy where that has to be not a negative on defense. In college you can hide players like him, but he's really working his butt off trying to get through screens, trying to D up guys, high up above the 3-point line, stuff like that. So I do appreciate his effort um, on that end as well, and that is one thing that will endear him to the coaching staff and stuff like that, and get him to get these minutes too to actually be able to have games like this, um, even without the injuries. Is if he's coming out there and working his butt off on both ends, it's a good sign.
Yeah, yeah. Um, this is the last point I'm going to make on this. Like, this is the type of stuff that drives me crazy when people come in chat and say, in a redraft, Caleb would be drafted top 15. Like, he's a 24-year-old rookie who's pretty much score only, who has a true shooting percentage on the season of 48%. Like, from the outside looking in, that's what other fans see. That's what other people would see. I wouldn't take him top 15 in a redraft. No, he basically, as a whole, he has to play better than he has as a whole this season to even be in like top 20, top 25 in a redraft conversation. As a whole this season, he has not played well. It's a tale of two different seasons. It's everything leading up to this point, minus a couple of games, and it's the last 6 games. The last 6 games is a much smaller sample than the rest of his season. But also, he's a rookie, so maybe he's starting to figure some things out. I do think it's part of that and figuring out how to play with some of these guys. But, yeah, like, would I take him over Young? Maybe that's a different conversation. But let's just pump the brakes on, like, the claims that he's arrived, he's a top 15 rookie, because still, as a whole on the year, he still has not been particularly efficient. It's just been this latest stretch. So you have to hope that stretch continues, and that's where we can't get a little bit of our head of ourselves with starting to compare him to guys who have been, on the whole, much better this season.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, he'd probably go in the second round instead of going undrafted. But yeah, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah. See, I'm always the guy to pump the brakes. I'm not going to be the biased fan. I'm sure a lot of people would love for me to be the biased fan that was making all these claims, but I try to be unbiased, and I try and be reasonable, and I try and be realistic, and I'm not going to like dock a guy just because he's a Blazer. Like, if anything, I'm prone to bias too, but I try not to be. So that's all it is. That's all it is. Shout out to Rip City Retro. What's up, Rich? Good to see you, man, with the $10 donation. Says Happy New Year, guys. Hope everyone had a wonderful 2020. Hope everyone has a wonderful 2026. Made an update video for Rip City Retro a couple days ago for people who reached out over the last 2 years on my health, etc. Love you all. Go Blazers. Thank you, Rich. Yeah, Eric was plugging that video at the end of last stream saying you had a update video, so I hope that you're well, and anybody that wants to watch that, go watch that, but just after the stream. Don't click off the stream. I don't want to see us go from 240 viewers to 220, but yeah, you can go check out Rich's video right now. You have my permission to click off the stream and go check out Rich's video, because it's always good to hear from Rich. Thank you for the donation. Did I miss one? No. Okay. Appreciate your guys' donations. All right, so let's go back to the box score here. 22 points from Caleb, 6 for 11 from 3, 7 for 13 from the field. Anything else you want to say there with his play from tonight specifically? Because I know we've discussed a lot of overarching narratives.
Just awesome to see him play well again. It's, to me, it just magnifies everything we've talked about for months now. Get Denny Avdia some freaking shooters if you did like, he's doing this with Caleb Love, you know what I mean, and a bunch
know.
of non-shooters.
Yeah.
Imagine if he had actual NBA caliber shooters around him, and just think of how, like, if we had a actual consistent shooters, I can't imagine how awesome this offense would look, right? And like, why are we being deprived of getting to see that? Come on, Joe Cronin. Like, I'm asking you, please get some shooting around this guy. I want to see how good he can be. He's already amazing. Like what could happen if we have actual shooters around him? Man?
Who's your dream target in that role for him?
Well, I mean, I don't really care who it is as long as they can shoot. I mean, you know, I've liked Keon Ellis for a while because I think he's one of those guys who competes and scraps on the defensive end and you wouldn't have to sacrifice a lot of defense. Has been consistent every year with his 3-point shot. Yeah, he's maybe not a forward type or whatever, but
I have a guy I want more than Keon, man.
Yeah, I know who your guy is. But man, like, yeah.
Give me Vic Krejci. Give me Krejci, man.
I can't believe you're claiming that's your guy now.
He's my guy now. He wasn't my guy before, but he's my dream target. Like, my dream role player target for this team is him. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Why can't you believe it? He's 6'8".
No, it seems like over the past week you've just like discovered him or something.
No, I talked about him last year.
People bring him up every time we talk about him.
I talked about him last year. You don't remember?
I mean,
I talked about him on stream. Yeah, but like buy low shooter. I liked him last year. Now I love him because he's even better this year. But last year I brought him up because here are his numbers. Here are his numbers last year. Okay, 20 points per game, shot 43.7% from three, but he also can pass a bit. Averaged 2.6 assists per game last season per 36. That's 4.6 assists per game for a 6'8" 3-point specialist. He can pass a little bit. Like, he has a little bit of craft when he puts the ball on the floor and attacks a closeout. Like, he's not somebody that shoots a ton of shots inside the arc. He shoots like 75% of his shots from three, but he can pass a little bit. So just a 6'8" guy. This season, he's shooting 45.9% from three on 9 threes per 36 minutes. And I just imagine Deni Avdija kicking out to him. And that's my dream. That's my dream. Somebody that's able to do a little bit more than the 3-point shooting, but like is 6'8", can play the three and be that 3-point specialist. He would be such an amazing ad. Also, his contract is insanely valuable. He's on like a 4-year, $10 million total. That's not per year, $10 million total contract. It's an insane bargain. I don't think.
Why would trade him?
Would you trade the worst 2029 first for him? Because it's probably what it takes to get Keon Ellis, and I think I want him more than Keon Ellis. Because isn't Keon Ellis on the last year of his contract?
Yeah.
I'd rather have Krejci than Keon Ellis. I know Keon Ellis is a better defender, but he could leave. He could get a payday. Right? And Krejci's 6'8", better shooter because he's like absolutely elite. Like that's our Duncan Robinson, you know what I mean? Because Duncan Robinson, his playmaking took a little bit of a leap. That's our Duncan Robinson the next 2-3 years at like $2.5-3 million per year. So I know the Hawks are trying to trade for Anthony Davis. Like if there's any way, like I would give up the worst 2029 first for him.
Yeah. What were you saying? 20 points per game? What did you mean by
20
that?
points per game?
I swear you said he was averaging 20 points per game last year. I thought you were going by per 36 or something, but
and if I said that, it was a misspeak, but I don't remember saying that. Chad, did I say that? I don't know. New game. Did Torrey say what Eric thinks he said? I don't know. It's 46% from three this year, though. He was 13 points per 36 last year. He's 16 now. He's 2.5 assists now, so that took a little bit of a dip this year, but he plays super confident. He's super consistent shooter. 6'8". It's funny because Basketball Reference has him listed as a point guard and a shooting guard. So you need a little bit of ball handling and passing. Normally you wouldn't expect it from your three-point specialist, but it's better than having a number of guys, I guess, handle the ball at all. He has a little bit of experience playing point guard. So that's my guy at this deadline. Super easy to trade for. You can trade, Chris Murray's salary for him, and you actually save money. And you're not at risk of losing him next year. So I'd trade the worst 2029 first for him. The thing is it does make it so you have one less tradable first if you're trying to trade for a star. But for a guy that fits perfectly, he's just one of the guys like a team doesn't really look to trade, but Atlanta might shake things up with a Trae Young trade and trading Anthony Davis. So maybe he's a piece that's gettable if they want a first to include to Dallas or whatever for Anthony Davis, like an extra first. I don't know. Anyway, viable in a second for Kispert. See, I'd rather just try and get Kritzky. Kritzky's a better shooter and he's taller. I don't know if Eric's clicking off on purpose. Are you clicking off on purpose? Or you just keep getting collab cammed? What is going on?
No.
I can't re-add Eric. That's not good. Hold on. Hold on. Eric is rage quitting. Yeah, I talked too much about Vic Kritzky. I'm wondering why we can't get a 10-day on a hardship with all our guys out. Go get Garrison Matthews. I forget when 10 days start. I don't know if they've started yet, but that's a guy that would be good to get on a hardship contract right now. I forget some of the rules around the hardship contract and all that stuff. I can no longer see Eric. Maybe I need to... start a Google Meet instead. Don't know. You can do 10 days. Coloco's on one. Yeah, it'd be good to do a 10-way. I'd maybe cut Repair and sign Garrison Matthews to a 10-day right now. Then he's not the greatest shooter, but just somebody that provides something a little different. Okay, let's see if this works now. All right, I think we're good. Every time I added you, it kept taking you away. It was weird.
On Streamlabs, I saw 5 of you at one point.
5 of me? That's kind of scary.
Windows, yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, that's my guy. That's my target. Over pretty much anybody. Keon Ellis would be great too. I would just like a guy that would feel comfortable with him at the 3 with the guards that we'll have next year, especially if it's like Caleb Love's our 5th guard and we like him too. It's kind of a lot of 6'4", 6'3" guys with Keon, and then that's the thing. If you trade for Keon and he's looking at you're gonna have Dame, Drew, Scoot, Sharp next year, it's gonna be hard for me to play. And he's a free agent. That would be my worry with Keon Ellis. For as good of a fit as he is right now for what the Blazers need. No reason Atlanta needs both Kennard and Vit. Yeah, I feel like they'd look to move Kennard as salary filler though in an AD trade or in a bigger trade. All right, Eric, pick a player.
We've already done Denny, right?
Yep.
Let's just go down the list. Let's go with Sharp next.
Always going down the list. All right. 9 for 18 for Sharp, 23 points. Let me pull up the freaking box score. What box scores? I have too many tabs open, man. Chat, I don't know how many tabs you usually keep open, but I
just closed all my tabs.
Yeah. He's 1 for 6 from 3, 4 for 4 from the free throw line. I have it on the graphic. There we go. 9 for 18 from the field for Sharp. So, decently efficient game, but kind of had some struggles at times during this game as well. What were your thoughts, Eric?
Yeah, kind of a mixed bag for me. Obviously, not hitting the shots. The 3 turnovers weren't good. But I did really like, especially at the beginning of the second half, it felt like he really did a good job of getting to the rim and finishing. He allowed himself to get trapped a couple times at midcourt. That wasn't good. But yeah, I thought it was okay. I mean, you don't like 3 turnovers to 1 assist once again, not providing anything playmaking wise. But I thought he did some good things driving the ball, and some not so good things, passing the ball and not turning it over. But so kind of a mixed bag, but overall, I guess we'll take it, right?
The one thing I want him to learn is how to throw lobs / dump off passes. Especially the dump off passes, because he can get so high in the air. He can draw so much attention with how athletic he is. Like he could be that guy that could jump up in the air, get the big man to leave his feet, meet him in the air, and then drop it off to the big, and he has a wide open dunk with how high Sharp can get and how he can hang in the air. How many times do we see him try and finish where he's, throwing himself into the body of the shot blocker and like hanging in the air and has these like tough finishes. But some of those plays, Eric, I would love for him to drive at the big man, get him to commit, and then feed a guy like Klingon or Robert Williams. That's what smart playmakers will do to set up their big, is they'll attack. If they can get all the way to the rim, they'll finish. But if they attack and get the big to leave the ground where they can't get to the rim, they'll get that big to commit, get that big to leave their feet. Because then once you dump it off to Klingon, that big still has to land and try and recover and doesn't have enough time to do so. So if you can get the rim protector, if you can get the help to commit to your drive fully and meet you in the air, that's when the dump off pass is the best. And Sharp has so much time in the air to like rearrange and shoot. Like he could be a really good passer out of those situations, I think, if you would just look to do so. This isn't really anything regarding a play in this game, but that's just something where, like, get more creative feeding his big with the threat of the drive. That's what Denny's been doing a really good job of with some of the lobs and some of the creative ways he's been able to get Klingon the ball. Denny's and Klingon's chemistry has been growing. That's where I'd like to see Sharp start to kind of learn ways to be creative and find his big outside of just the pocket pass. He can throw that. He threw a nice pocket pass to Young that hit him in the hands and he dropped it. And we'll talk about Young in a little bit, and then we'll talk about the injuries. But that's just where Sharp being a little bit more creative with his playmaking, I think would be a fun addition to his game. And maybe he never does. If he's somebody that can score, 27, 28 points per game per 36 minutes efficiently, then that's really valuable scoring. So that's where I'm not going to give him a bunch of heat for his lack of playmaking when he's scoring the ball efficiently the way that he is right now. But that would just be something I hope that he can start to add at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. Once again, like Tristan mentioned, he did have that nice drive into the middle, kick out to Monty for an open 3. I think that was his only assist. He does need to find the big. There's so many times where there is someone down there, and he takes a shot. There was in that stretch where I was talking about with Sissoko earlier. Shaden came back in the game towards the beginning of the second quarter as well, and he took the worst shot of the game. Probably it was like a fadeaway 18-footer from it had no chance of going in. And
was that the one where he was facing right and like had to turn 90 degrees in the air? That shot where he had Caleb Love wide open for a kick-out pass?
I don't know. It was in the first half in the second quarter with a little under 9 minutes left, and he was like almost to the 3-point line at the top of the screen, and
Might have been a different shot because there's a play. Maybe we're talking about the same play. I'll try and find it on NBA.com. But there's a play where he had Caleb Love wide open on a kickout pass, one pass away, like right in front of him, and he was turned to the right instead of making that kickout pass, which Caleb Love's been shooting the three ball really, really well. So give him an open three right now. He was facing to the right and jumped in the air, had to turn like 90 degrees to shoot, was fading away, and missed that shot. And it was like, man, give Caleb Love an open three over a twisting fadeaway 16-footer with a defender on you. So there's still some shot selection stuff that I would like to be cleaned up. You know, he's pretty much right now it feels like he's pretty much score first, score second, pass third. That's kind of the way he plays. And then the passes are pretty much all his assists, I feel like, come off kick-out passes, unless it's like a easy hit ahead in transition or, you know, a very basic play. So being a little bit more creative with his playmaking when he drives, trying to find his big man, not just drive and kick. But then also just keep making the simple play, you know. There's a couple times where he has an easy, wide-open option that he should see, and he shoots a tougher shot instead of just making the right pass. That still needs to improve a little bit, but once again, I mean, like, he's been scoring the ball efficiently, and I'm starting to trust the consistency in which he's doing it. So it's like he's 9 for 18 today. That's efficient. You know, the three ball didn't fall, but it had been falling lately. He made his easiest three, wide open look today. I'm not really worried about the 3-point shot like I was. He was 33% entering this game. He's been shooting the ball better and shooting the ball consistently enough that I'm not going to worry about a single 1-for-6 game. So it's almost getting to the point where it's like, all right, he has an efficient 23-point game. Okay, I'm kind of starting to expect that from him. Now it's like, what else can he be doing better, if that makes sense, which is much better than the conversations we were having when he was super inefficient shooting 25% from three, and I was lamenting his shooting struggle. So like that's the next step for Sharp is like, okay, we trust the scoring. He's going to do it efficiently. He goes 9 for 18 and has 23 points in 31 minutes. And it's like, okay, that's a typical Shaedon Sharp game, a good game, a efficient game. Can he start making plays for other guys a little bit more often? That's the next conversation. The next level. He's leveled up. All right.
All right, what'd you think of Tamani tonight? All his shots are 3-point shots.
He goes 4 for 11 from three. That's what, like 37. I mean, that's like an okay 3-point shooting game. You know, that's fine. Let me look.
Or is it Poole that fouled him on the
Eric
corner three?
Do you know what Tamani was from the corner shooting the three today?
Was he 0 for?
0 for 3.
Yeah.
He was 4 for 8.
Yeah, I mean, he got to the line on one of them.
True. Dumb foul. They had a couple dumb fouls. But he had that one from the corner that he, like, banked. Like, hit the backboard first. He is so much better shooting above the break than in the corners. And in this game, he took 8 shots above the break. So, out of the corner. So, I like it when he shoots threes that aren't in the corner. I kind of hate it when he shoots threes in the corner right now. But
yeah, it was money on that one from the wing.
Yeah. And the stats back this up, by the way, because we've taken a look at the stats. He's far worse from the corner this year than he is anywhere else from three. So the defense, I mean, he's just like nothing stands out defensively with him this year, it feels like. Like, I think he's still near the top of the league in offensive fouls drawn. He might be at the top of the league in offensive fouls drawn, but we kind of expect that. That's what he did the last year. The individual defense just doesn't really stand out like it did last year. And in this game, I mean,
he did not get the calls tonight. He fell to the ground. I don't know. You can call them flops. You can call them being pushed off, I guess. But there was at least 3 or 4 times where he got pushed to the ground and just went sliding on the ground, and someone got an easy shot because of it.
I mean, maybe my expectations got too high for his defense, and now I'm shortchanging him. But like Zion had 35, was 15 for 26. Jeremiah Fears had 18, was 8 for 15. He hasn't really been a guy that like slows anybody down this year, it feels like, which kind of sucks. You know, I don't know. His steals per game are down this year. So it's nice that his three-point shooting has seemed to stabilize a bit, because there was that stretch earlier in the season where it was like, man, defenses aren't even respecting him, and defenses are, there was a couple games where he was being dared to shoot. He shot 38% from three in December, and then 4 for 11. That's 36.4%. So it's nice that his shooting is stabilized after shooting 32% the first 2 months of the season, where he had some really brutal shooting games. I'm hoping the defense will start to stabilize soon. This is back-to-back games with 4 assists. The last game he had 5 turnovers against OKC. Tonight he only had 1, and that was maybe his worst turnover of the season, where he just threw the ball directly to Matkovic. I don't know what that was. But the 4 assists is nice. I will say, I get tired of having forwards on this team, Eric. Drive, get halfway to the rim, and then stop and turn around and start dribbling away from the rim, searching for a teammate with their back to the rim.
Yeah.
Rupert does it. Chris Murray does it a ton, more than anybody I've ever seen wear a Blazer jersey. And Tamani did that on the turnover he had today, when I think it was either Jordan Hawkins or Jose Alvarado guarding him, which Jose Alvarado's a good defender, but he's also like, how tall is he?
Like 5'10", yeah.
Yeah, like 8 inches shorter than Tamani. And in situations like that, when you got a smaller guy on you, Tamani drives to the baseline to his right hand. He gets cut off by Jose Alvarado. You don't want to turn around, turn your back to the rim, start dribbling out looking for a teammate, because that signals to the entire defense, oh, this guy isn't even looking to shoot. I'm going to deny. Like, I'm going to take away his outlet. Like, we don't have to worry about this dude scoring. He's turning his back, dribbling away from the rim. You can't put yourself in positions inside the arc where you're not a threat to score at all. Because essentially it ruins the whole offense. Like, okay, you get the ball out, you throw it over the defender that's denying, and now Denny has the ball 29 feet away from the rim, and we have nothing going. Now we're restarting the possession. It's basically completely aborting the possession when you drive halfway to the rim and then turn around and like try and dribble out or searching for an outlet on the perimeter. I hate when players do that. In that situation, Tamani, he gets cut off. You're 6'7", going up against a guy that's like 6 feet tall. Like, post him up. Even if you're not going to score, like, just be strong with the ball. I think some of this is he's so turnover prone and he's not strong enough with the ball, so he doesn't have confidence. But defenses can sense that. Post him up, try and draw another defender, and then kick to where they're rotating from, and that guy might have an open shot, or at least you get them caught in rotation. And if they don't help, okay, try and post up a dude that's 6 feet tall. Like, try and bag him, get to the front of the rim, be strong with the ball, shield the ball, use your body, like, make a play. And if you fail, you fail. But, like, the turnover he had, he basically tried to dribble out, and then guys were getting denied, and Matkovic was denying his outlet, and he threw the ball right to Matkovic, who was denying the pass. Mm-hmm. So there's too many guys on this team that do that crap, man. I hate it.
Yep. I'm right there with you. Right there with you. Yeah, Tamani was fine. He just, I don't know. It's like, at best, the same player he was last year. And that's just a little disappointing considering how much we need him to, I don't know. You look at Caleb Love, what he's been doing the last few games and stuff, and it seems like it would be easy for Kamara to get all these open threes. You get 11 in this game. Yeah, you hit 4 of them, but to me, like, that should be like the baseline, what you're doing with all these open threes, you know?
Yeah. I can't wait to watch Donovan Clingan play with Dame.
Oh, man.
Clingan next year, dude, is gonna be a beast. Like, I don't know. He's playing like a top 10 center right now with being the best offensive rebounder. Some of the 3-point shot making was 0 for 3 today, but he's been making threes. Okay, it's fine. Go 0 for 3. Still shoot them confidently. Shoot the open ones. He's not shooting 7 threes where he goes 0 for 7, right? He's still had that roll to the rim, the lob from Denny that you talked about. He's finishing super well. He's 5 for 7 inside the arc, playing super hard. The offense has been super fun. I just think more spacing next year with a pick and roll guard like Dame and, like Dame, Denny, Drew's still here. Like, Drew's a good veteran guard. Like, these guys will unlock him in a way that will be scary next year, is how I truly feel about that. And especially if he keeps developing the 3-point shot and they keep tapping into his passing. I mean, I just imagine a spaced floor and the way teams overplay Dame and his ability to pass and hitting Dame on backdoor cuts like Nurkic used to. But I think Klingon is a more naturally talented passer than Nurkic. Like, I think he's a little smarter than Nurkic. And you saw how good Nurkic looked at times next to Dame. I am super excited for Klingon year 3, based on what I'm seeing right now. Because like I said, Eric, it's a flash every game. And he had 2 flashes today. It was the pass out of the post that he flipped over his head to a cutting Sissoko. And it was the post up he had in the middle of the paint where he had an up and under for a dunk.
Yeah, that was an impressive move, man.
Yeah.
And thank you, Lamar, for saying what I've been saying for a while. Like, he caught the ball in a position to do a little baby left-hand hook. That's got to be in his a 7'2" big has to have that in his arsenal.
It will be at some point. Yeah. I can guarantee that. Like,
no, I guarantee it too. It just,
it's something he needs to add, but I am so confident he will add that at some point. Like,
he should already have it. Like, he's been big for a long time. There's no way he shouldn't already have that just turn hook shot. That's like one of the most basic fundamental big man things, and he's a very fundamental player. Like, I can't believe that's not.
I think you saw him shoot some of those little like short push shots, and the touch on it was really bad. I think like his touch with one hand when he's not at the rim is just needs to be worked on. So he doesn't shoot shots that he's not comfortable with. He could probably shoot a lot of them, but then maybe we'd be saying, man, his touch isn't good on that, right? So I think at some point he will add it. He'll figure out the touch on that shot, and he'll feel comfortable enough to shoot it. I just think. That's more of like a next year or the year after thing. I think right now I've really liked his finishing, at the rim when he can't dunk has been much better this year.
He had that one kind of fading away. Like, I thought he was gonna for sure miss it. I forgot what point of the game it was, but just a really, really tough finish that he had.
His touch is getting better on finishing, so I think I think at some point he'll add that. He takes good shots, though. Like, he doesn't really take bad shots or shots that he's not comfortable with.
Well, you mentioned those backdoor passes to Dame. He had one to Denny, and Denny blew the lay-in and then got it back and got fouled. But, he was like, come on, Denny.
See, like, it feels like if you're box score watching and you're not watching these games, you see Klingon is like 1 assist in a game like this. Like, okay, he has 1 assist in 30 minutes. Like, his passing can't be that good. But like just when he does try and make tough passes, he consistently makes them. He just isn't really utilized.
It might have been the same play I was talking about earlier, but that one where he kept passing back to Chris Murray, it's like, just shoot the freaking ball at Donovan.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Where they pass back and forth like twice each.
Imagine
neither wanted to shoot the ball.
Yeah. Just imagine though, having Donovan Klingon next year, legitimate 3-point shooter, bigs have to guard him outside the arc. And you have Denny Avdia screening away for Damian Lillard coming towards the ball, and then slipping that screen going towards the rim. And then Dame, if he's open on it, it can be a pass for a catch and shoot, or he could keep running into a pick and roll or a handoff, and then Klingon with his ability to roll or pop with Dame coming off of that. Like, that'll be a super hard action to guard. Even if it's not Dame, even if it's Shea. We've seen how Shea is off of curls. Like, next season,
Klingon needs to have the ball at the top of the arc, making decisions as a playmaker and a passer with a lot more off-ball screens and a lot more movement. I think the right coach would unlock that next season. And they need... Yeah, you got Jeremy, athletic, can shoot the three. Like, they have all these pieces that I think in an offense that features Klingon at the top of the arc, making passing decisions, could be so tough to guard. And that doesn't have to be their entire offense. That can just be a core part of their offense is Klingon can shoot from here, right? You got to bring the big away from the rim, and then you have all this action that is designed to go downhill at the rim and take advantage of Klingon drawing the big away from the rim. That offense could be lethal next year. I mean, just imagine Scoot, like an improved Scoot, hopefully, with his ability to get downhill and get to the rim. If you're able to pull that big away from the rim and you got shooters around him, like, the offense has so much potential, and a big part of that potential, I think, lies within Donovan Klingon being hopefully a legitimate floor spacing big man that can pass. So that's why I get super excited about his passing flashes, because next season, man, if they have the right coach that takes advantage of it, it's going to be a lot of fun.
And it's also so weird to say when he's not going to do it by scoring points, you know?
Yeah. Because that's the thing, even that action I talk about, if it turns into a handoff, he's one of the best screen setters in the league for Dame, you know? Yeah. Can't wait. Shout out to MGJJ with a $10 donation, says, I think in time Klingon is going to be one of the best centers Portland has ever had. I think, like, he's well on his way to being the best center since Sabonis. Is that fair to say? Because Aldridge wasn't a center. You know, they have Rolo.
Dominating.
They have Rolo. They have Nurk. Like, I think he's well on his way to being better than those guys were. Even Nurk in 2019, where it was like, man, he's having a near all-star level impact. I think Klingon next year, we're going to have those same exact conversations about when he's only 23 years old. Because Nurk still wasn't a three-point shooter that year and still wasn't particularly efficient for a center.
Yeah.
Like, I could see Klingon being a three-point shooter and efficient, better dump-off threat, and better decision-maker, and better rebounder. And hopefully better defender, too. Nurk was really good defensively that year, but yeah, he's the starting center for the next 10 years. It's going to take so much for Young to develop to even make that a conversation.
Yeah. Remember when it was a conversation before the season started?
People really wanted to make that a conversation before the season. I'm sitting here like, you guys are being ridiculous. You've only watched Young's highlights. You haven't watched him in real games. You haven't seen his lowlights. And Klingon's going to develop well. Like, all that's been the case. We'll talk about Young in a second. Final starter, Chris Murray. 1 for 7 from the field, 0 for 3 from 3. He did have 6 points in 26 minutes, though.
Yeah, because they fouled him on a three-point shot for some reason. But I thought Chris had some extremely good moments on defense in this game. Played the passing lanes really well. I thought when we got back into this game after getting I don't know, we just got, it felt like we were going to get blown out early in this game, and I felt like he really changed the game with a couple of those steals and smart defensive plays. But outside of that, man, it's just not good having him in the game.
I've figured it out with Chris. You know what he is? Somebody that the worse the team is, the more solid he looks, but is unplayable against playoff caliber teams.
Yeah, that's probably true. Outside of maybe like right now, we'd probably be in our defensive lineup like in a situational in the
Situational
game.
spot, yeah. But like offensively
But,
in a
yeah.
playoff series, I could not imagine. Against good defenses, he's unplayable. But against New Orleans, who, isn't good enough defensively, this lineup isn't good enough defensively to take advantage of the fact that Chris Murray's brutal on offense. And then Chris Murray had some good defensive possessions. He's fine, I guess. He's 1 for 7, though. Like, freaking so inefficient. But is everybody... I don't know if I should ask this question. It's kind of mean. But, like, is everybody ready to kind of move on from Chris? Chat? I know some of you have argued with me in the past, but if they go into next year and the plan is to play him as part of the main rotation, I'm going to be very frustrated. I'll say that. 26.9% from 3 going into this game. He was a brick today. So, yeah. 3 assists, though. He had some assists somehow. I don't even remember them, but... Move Chris for Kritschke, please. See, like, just imagine Kritschke getting these wide open threes that Chris Murray gets.
Yeah.
I dream about that at night. I would keep him over Duop and Repair. I would almost rather keep Duop or Repair because I know the coaching staff doesn't like them enough to play them unless they have to. With Chris, I feel like they like him a lot or like him a decent amount, and
Yeah.
they like him too much. So, but anyway. Sissoko, 2 for 7 from the field, so they combined to go 3 for 14. He has 5 points in his 20 minutes, so they have 11 points in 46 minutes.
So I got a couple nice passes, but outside of that, he was kind of pissing me off in this game. So.
Oh yeah, the shooting is gone. As fast as it came, it has went.
Disappointing.
Yeah, I shouldn't have jinxed him. That I will take the blame for that one.
Well, you jinxed Donovan now, too.
Donovan's not allowed to go 0 for 3 in a single game because of me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. The good thing is he doesn't have to rely on shooting to be effective. City Sissoko, when he's not making threes, is pretty brutal. Yeah, I like some of the passes, but I'm ready to move on from so many guys on this roster. You have Ryan Repair hits a 3 in 14 minutes. He's 1 for 3 from 3. He had an assist, a rebound. I guess it's not terrible. That's the thing. We'll see that and be like, oh, okay, that's okay.
Not awful.
That's how low the bar is at this point. But, he made a 3. Dude, he starts his shot, like, with his arms so, like, straight up and down. And it's so weird and so stiff. Like, that's why he needs so much time to shoot. He can't really shoot in rhythm. Like, it's not even a set point. It's where he starts the ball from when he brings it up is really tense, you can tell. And that's why he doesn't shoot the ball smoothly. It's the same thing with Chris. But, like, Chris, some of it's his set point. I don't know what... We drafted these guys 3 years ago. I don't know what the hell we've been doing with their shot. We haven't been developing them as shooters at all. They have legitimate form issues that we're not changing. And the result's not changing, and they can't shoot. Like... You couldn't figure out a way to add any sort of fluidity or rhythm to Repair's jumper. That's maybe one of the easier things to add, in my opinion. His shot's so stiff. His body's so stiff. Like, just don't understand why they haven't tweaked anything with Chris Murray's jumper or Ryan Repair's jumper. It's like they go into the season, the same process, and they expect different results. And then these guys are combined to go 1 for 6 from 3.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just happy that they made a single three. So, Young Hansen plays 2 minutes. Young Hansen, in those 2 minutes, has a pass where he basically throws it to the defense. He shot a 3 and he airballed and was a -5. What were your thoughts on Young?
Oh man, that was a brutal 2 minutes. Unfortunately for Young, just did not have it for whatever reason. But yeah, understandable why he got taken out of the game after that and never came back in.
So on the season, he is shooting 14% from 3. And then he airballed a wide open one today. That's not counted in that percentage, so it's even lower now. Eric, why did people act like he was a solid 3-point shooter coming into the NBA and coming into this season?
Because the Blazers media told you he was.
Because they watched his highlights, and in his highlights, he made threes.
Yeah. And then he made a couple in Summer League.
And then I'm a hater for telling people he's not a good shooter. Like, I get tired of people that just don't have any hold on reality. Maybe that's a little mean. But like, dude, you can't just watch a prospect, watch their highlights, and then start to make claims about who they are as a player. Especially when it's highlights against the CBA, like the Chinese Basketball Association, a lower level league than the Euro League. Like, you can see the flashes, but just because you watch highlights and somebody makes threes in highlights doesn't mean they're a good shooter. It doesn't mean they're a good shooter, man. I like, that drives me crazy. I can watch Dwight Howard highlights and see him making threes in highlights. But people watched his highlights and they ignored the fact that this guy was a 27% 3-point shooter in the CBA last year. 27%. But, oh, he's making threes in highlights. Next, Jokic. Let's get on the hype train and be completely unrealistic about who this guy is coming into the league. And then let's get mad at Torrey when he says, guys, he's a 27% 3-point shooter at a lower league. He's probably not going to be a good 3-point shooter to start his career, and it's going to need a lot of development. Well, now he's shooting 14. After today, it's like 12 or 13% from 3. Yeah, the 3-point shot is not close to being good. The passing, he has some flashes, but he doesn't understand what he can and can't throw at the NBA level, and that's going to take a lot of time for him to understand. He even struggled with that in the CBA, where he'd have some dimes that would look really good on the highlights. The highlights didn't show his turnovers. He averaged more turnovers than assists. Okay? And it's different throwing passes against slow athletes where you have these big windows to just kind of feed the ball through, where you can be a little bit inaccurate and you can take your time to see the play, compared to the NBA where some passes you have to anticipate before it's even there, and the windows are a lot smaller. That pass he tried to throw to Robert Williams that he turned over today, that gets through in the CBA, and that's a highlight where it's like, look at his passing. It wasn't even close to getting through in an NBA game against a bad NBA team. So that's just, I get frustrated with people that watch highlights and then try and make claims about who a player is when the highlights don't show you anywhere near enough to make assumptions about who a player is coming into the league.
Yeah, well, it almost feels to me, and you mentioned Nurkic's passing, I felt like it got this way too at a point. And that's that it feels to me like when they make a good pass, that's like one of the best ways to get praise, or to like, oh, I did something good. And so you're constantly trying, it's almost like we talked about Tamani, like making defensive plays. Like you're constantly chasing now. You think you have to make a fancy pass when 9 times out of 10, just making the right swing pass or an easier pass is the right decision. But it feels like he's almost like trying to force himself to make a good pass to like look good while he's out there because he knows he has limited time to show something. So hopefully that can be fixed pretty easily. Still kind of concerned. I brought this up weeks ago that there was a point in a game, I think this was the last game in OKC, where him and Denny had a conversation on the bench and they had to call the interpreter over there. Hopefully at some point that isn't the case and he can pick up more on the language and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. It feels like he's trying to force those passes just to show people what he can do, and that's probably not the right basketball play.
Yeah, well, I also think he doesn't understand athletes at the NBA level and how they can close these passing windows. Like, you got to be a little bit more careful with some of the passes you throw. But
yeah,
there's a question in chat. How are you two feeling about his trajectory? He feels like someone that's going to get bounced out of the league by his second team. I can't lie. I do feel that way. I hope that I'm wrong. I do. There's just so much ground he has to make up, man. Like, he is so raw. The shot is... I mean, is Robert Williams shooting better from three this year? Like, that's where we're at with the shot right now, okay?
I doubt it.
Robert Williams is shooting
Like 1 for 10
11%. 11%. So 1 for 9. Young has made 2, luckily. Like, he made 2. But the shot is so far away. Like, he needs to take multiple leaps in terms of shooting just to become a 30%er. You know what I mean? Like, he's not even a 20%er right now. And some of the misses are really bad. He had the one he bricked off the backboard against OKC that was wide open straight away, and he missed completely to the side and hit the backboard. He had the one he airballed today. Like, the ball doesn't come out of his hand even close to consistently. His form doesn't look that bad, but when you're 7'2" and you have bigger hands, like, it's hard to shoot the ball. He is wildly all over the place with his shot. The physicality, he has so much room to make up in terms of strength and, like, getting used to physicality. He had the play where he just got, like, bullied against OKC in a way that you never want to see a 7'2" big get bullied. The defense, the closing out on the perimeter, like, there's a reason why he was projected to be a second-round project big.
Mm-hmm.
The Blazers just took him in the first round, which was insane. And it's still, to me, an insane pick. Like, I don't say that often. There's times where I, don't say how I truly feel. And it's like, okay, he's a project. He's going to take time. We need to be patient, which is all true. But deep down, I still think it was a pretty insane pick. And deep down, I still think it was a complete mistake. And I hope that he works hard enough. He seems like a great kid, so I'm rooting for him. But that doesn't mean I'm going to feel like he's going to be the next Jokic. And I just don't understand, because Klingen's the answer at the center spot for the next decade. So I just don't understand it.
Well, that's what I always come back to. Even if you do believe in Young and you still want to give him plenty of more time. And look, he's less than half a season into his rookie year. He's still young. I'm willing to give him some time, his rookie contract, to figure it out. It's just with using the 7th pick the year before on Klingen, it almost feels to me like they weren't sold on Klingen, which is just very perplexing to me. And if they couldn't see what you and I saw, like, Klingen was capable of, it's so weird, because he completely transformed their defense last year. And
I don't even believe that's true, though. They had him number 1 on their board, right?
Yeah, but I'm saying, like...
And then they were completely fine with buying out Ayton so that he could start.
If you feel that way, though, like, why would you invest a first-round pick in Young? Like, it doesn't...
Because they fell in love with him.
But they also, I don't think I think they were buying into the notion that Klingon couldn't, like, wasn't going to be a 30-minute a game center,
I don't
like,
buy that. I don't even buy that. I don't even buy that. I think
I mean,
it's
it
a
had to have
simple.
been something. What? So you think Klingon could be a 30-minute center, and you're going to waste the first round pick on another center that then at the most is going to play 18 minutes a game at his absolute best?
I think it's as simple as they fell in love with him. Maybe there's a little bit of emotion to the pick. I don't know. I hope not. But they fell in love with him. They were hyper fixated on him, and they had guys that they liked that, every starting position going forward with their future, Scoot, Shea, Tamani, Denny, Klingon, and it was essentially like, let's draft a guy we love that we think has a lot of upside, and if things work out, then we're guaranteed to have hopefully a top 10 starting center. We believe in Klingon, but maybe Young puts us in a position where we have to make a tough decision between the two of them, which would be a good position to be in, to have two centers that are that good, and then we can figure it out. And he has all-star level upside and could be the next Şengün, the next Jokic or whatever. I think that's truly how they thought of it. I don't think it was an indictment on Klingon at all, or that they thought Klingon wasn't going to be good or like a long-term center. I think it was just swinging for the fences just to see what the hell happens with a guy that they loved.
They thought they were going to look like the smartest people in the room in a few years, right?
I do wonder how much of him being from China factored into it.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it's you lose 10 more games than you win last year, and this is what we have to show for it. I don't know. I am being mean to him as a player, and I hate that. Like I said, I'm rooting for him. He seems like a great kid and wears his heart on his sleeve, and like there is the human part of me that feels kind of bad for critiquing his play, but it's the NBA. It's a performance-based business.
Yeah.
You either perform or you don't, and that's just the truth. And you're either going to be able to perform or you don't, or you won't be able to, and it's business. Like, feelings be damned.
So did we, Marv. So did we.
I brought up all the stuff when they drafted him. Yeah, so did we. So, Cedric Coward would be performing for us right now, man. I mean, there's a number of guys. We could have taken Derek Queen at 11.
Yeah. So here's my thing, okay? And I know we should never listen to anything they said, but we had to hear them say that they feel confident putting him in a game right away, right when they drafted him, right?
Yeah.
So once again,
That shows you.
they just completely misevaluate the situation and how ready he was and all that. Because now we're in a situation, Tori, where next year we have Robert Williams as a free agent. We're probably, I mean, there's a chance he could be back, I guess, and be our backup center. But most likely we're either going to move him at the trade deadline, knowing we're not going to re-sign him, or he's going to leave in free agency, right? So short of working out an extension with him prior to that, so we know we have him, we have to get a backup center this summer. We cannot go into next season with him as our backup center, and DeWop is obviously not that guy either. So they have to add another big. So like you're now going into a season where you have most likely Dame, Drew Holiday, Jeremy Grant, all these veterans looking to win now, with some younger guys who are also blossoming this year, like Denny and Donovan and Shea and all those guys. And so now we need to add a backup center just to cover the spot that they wasted a first round pick on. That's not going to help us right now. So, I mean, you could get a cheap big probably, but it's sad that we drafted this guy and we're already going to have to cover for him after 1 year. And it just doesn't make a lot of sense with the team building right now.
Yeah, absolutely agree. What's funny is, my Vic Krejci type of target last year. Do you remember? Do you remember who it was?
In the draft or like free
No,
agency?
free agency.
I mean, I'm gonna remember when you say it, but I'm drawing a blank right now.
Mamu Kelashvili.
Oh, yeah.
He's currently playing 21 minutes a game for a playoff team in Toronto, averaging per 36. Here's his numbers right now: 18 points, 8 boards, 3 assists. He's shooting 52% from the field, which includes 62% from 2 and 39% from 3 on 6 threes per 36. And he's like a hybrid 4-5. And he signed for a contract. Now, this would have put us into the tax after signing Dame, but we do technically have a biannual exception, right? And maybe you could have traded Robert Williams and shed the salary, but he signed for like $4 million a year and gives us the shooting we need and can do a little bit off the dribble. Like, his defense isn't particularly good, but it's good enough for Toronto. They're winning games playing him 21 minutes a game.
It's less than that. He's only making 2.4. I think he's making.
Oh, he's on a minimum?
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought they signed him to a little bit more.
2 years, 5.2 million. Yeah. Player option, second year.
Yeah. Yep. Maybe we should start listening to Blazers Uprise. No, those guys are idiots. Trolling aside, like, there is good backups. The point I'm making is there is good backup centers for cheap. He's one of them. You can find different centers for like different needs too. So they should be fine, but like you don't like using a first round pick on a guy that you don't have confidence becoming at least a backup level center in the next couple of years. Anyway, that's all the players. Anything else you want to jump into, Eric?
I do want to talk about the injuries at some point.
Okay.
But yeah, the game, we pretty much got all of it.
All right. So I gave the update earlier. If you guys haven't read the update, you can go view one of my retweets. Go view Blazers Twitter. They gave an update yesterday. I feel like most of you have seen it. So, Eric, just what are your thoughts on the injury update?
Well, first of all, to all the people making, I don't know if you got these comments too, but I got all the like, oh, you're so negative comments,
For
you know.
what?
Just posting that I was concerned about the Thibault thing. But you guys realize Sean Hyken in his tweet with the injury news, breaking that news or whatever, he used the word finally as well. Like, this is not just us that, like, this is ridiculous. I just, yeah, it's funny. I got the whole, him and his co-host have to have this negative shtick because that's the only thing that keeps them relevant type responses.
I mean, people are dumbasses. Anybody that says that's a complete
I know.
dumbass. Our channel does the best when the team's playing well, and we're sitting here celebrating when it plays well. People are complete morons on the internet. There's a lot of people that hate a lot of things, including us, under the guise of, I hate these guys because they criticize my team. Like, get over yourself. If you don't want to criticize your team, don't criticize your team. But like, I had somebody today, I had a tweet. I said, I can't believe an NBA team went into a season saying we're going to run an offensive system that's reliant upon spacing and rely on Blake Wesley, Chris Murray, Ryan Repair, Robert Williams, City Sissoko, Young Hans, and Matisse Thybulle to make threes. That is the reality of what they did. Okay. And I said, that's wild to me. The same people that say I should expect the worst and like shouldn't even be critical of them because look at who they have to play. They have to play all these crappy players are the same people that have an issue when I say I can't believe the plan was to go into a season with these crappy players expecting them to make threes. So, number one, that's a contradiction from them. But I had a comment today. Typical Tory, get off the Blazers, man. Opt for a big market team. Oh, so because I think the Blazers' plan of shooting a lot of threes with guys that don't shoot threes well is a bit wild, I should go bandwagon a big market team. People are dumb on the internet. This is more proof.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep. So, um, first of all, I felt like the Blazers were kind of sarcastic and like what's as appropriate like whatever, dude. Like these are professional athletes. You're a professional basketball team that's required to provide updates to the league and for games and stuff like that. So it seemed kind of weird that they were vague about it, even though they like pretty much had to report this. And it was kind of a windshield wiper, just get it all, just just throw a bunch of crap out there. So like why my issue is so like Thibault has surgery in 2024 offseason on his right knee, misses a bunch of time from that, suffers an ankle injury while rehabbing from that, and misses all. What did he play last year? 4 or 5 games or something like that, right? He missed pretty much the entire season because of 2 injuries, one while rehabbing from the other one. So now he hurt. What did he? Was it his hand or his wrist or something this year? Oh, you're muted if you're talking, but
Who are you saying?
for Thibault.
Yeah, it was his thumb. I think he like
Thumb,
broke his
yeah.
thumb / hand, something like that.
And so this year it's his thumb. He injures his thumb, which is a legit injury. And then it comes out way, 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 way after the fact that, oh, he had a setback and his right knee is now bothering him. He's got right knee tendonitis or whatever. And so my question is, why didn't that, like, why can't they just say that, first of all? Why can't they just say when he starts having knee issues again, just say he's recovered from his thumb injury, but he has a separate knee issue? Why do they have to wait several weeks after he's supposed to be back to update on that? Which is a separate issue. But this guy hurt his thumb and now a knee that he pretty much sat out like a year and a half from. He's played very few games since then. Like since having surgery, it's still not okay a year and a half later after having a surgery. To me, that is very, very fair and legitimate to question the medical staff on why he's still having issues with a knee he had surgery on. Did something happen? Did he re-injure it? Did he come back too soon from it last time and then hurt his ankle or whatever? Is he just an injury-prone guy now, is always going to have these little nagging injuries? Whatever. But that's 2 straight years he's gotten hurt while being hurt, and that's concerning to me. Now, the second one is an injury from the first injury. It's kind of crazy. And then the Scoot thing, being 2 weeks away from being reevaluated and hopefully resuming activities at some point, like, one of two things had to have happened. Either he was misdiagnosed with the severity of his initial thing, or once again, he had a setback or re-injured it at some point while rehabbing and they didn't want to tell us that they wanted to keep that information from us that he didn't have it. Either way, the fact that he's been out this long, we talked about this last stream, and you have to question whether the medical staff gave him good advice, or did they tell him to get surgery and he just flat out refused to get surgery and wanted to rest it? Maybe that's the case. But it's too many things adding up, right, Tori? It's like,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
why would you, like, you're trying to cover your butt or something, because he should not have been out this long for something that they initially gave a 4 to 8 week reevaluation for. So they either severely misdiagnosed the severity of it, or he re-injured it. And why can't they just tell us that, and that drives me crazy too. Just say he was rehabbing and tweaked it a little bit, and now he's going to be out longer, unfortunately. Yes, that sucks to hear, but at least they're being transparent and upfront with us on what's going on. Because I think it's way worse if they tried to play it up like it was a minor thing, didn't advise him not to get the surgery, and then he's out as long or longer than it would have been if he just had the freaking surgery, and it probably would have been healed better than just leaving it alone and waiting. So I don't know, that those both drive me crazy. And then the Drew Holiday thing being way worse than they initially said, the 1 to 2 week thing, just adds to that as well.
How was Drew legitimately questionable the first couple of games he missed, just to end up missing essentially 2 months? Like,
I don't know.
Like that's the thing. There's so many things where if it's just one thing, it's like whatever. But there's so many different things that add up, like you said, where you have to start questioning if something's wrong with the process of like rehab, you know? Scoot obviously had a setback. Did Drew have a setback? Like, Drew was either misdiagnosed or had a setback, or they misled the fan base with the timetable they gave out. One of those three things has to be true, and none of those three things looks good for the organization and is fair to question them on. Like, there's so many injury situations where it's like the only viable, like the only options available with how things get stretched out are options where the organization is questionable, right? Yeah. Like, either rehab got messed up and there was a setback somehow, maybe it was fluky, maybe not, but it's fair to question it, or they misdiagnosed, which obviously would be a huge mistake, or they're being misleading with the timetables. Like, none of those things are good. Nobody should be defending the organization in this situation, because the only explanation is something where, like, the best explanation is, all these guys keep having setbacks, and that's why the timetables suck, and it's just fluky setbacks. It's not under our control. The rehab we rehab these guys like we're supposed to, and they keep having setbacks. Nothing we can do. Like, that is the best explanation for any of the stuff that's happened regarding the injuries. That's still not a particularly good explanation to me. So I that's where I get sick of people defending the organization here, because there really is no defense to me. There really is no defense that's better than that. How are you going to explain the way the timetables get messed up and a lot of the explanations seem to be like, oh, well, it's just a reevaluation date, and then they reevaluate him, and, you know, he still has rehab left. You know, he's not healthy. He's not clearing the benchmarks. Like, okay, so they gave out reevaluation dates for Drew. That's 1 to 2 weeks, and then he can't reach those benchmarks for 7 weeks. Like, it just still seems very strange to me.
Yeah. And then, yeah, Lucas says privacy. This is an NBA
professional
team.
Sports, my guy.
Yeah, this isn't the same as a normal person being injured.
They're still giving out timetables, and they still gave out an update here, so it's not even like they are doing this to protect any sort of privacy. That's not an explanation for anything that's happened.
Well, let me ask you this, Story. What does day-to-day mean to you?
I don't freaking know. It means Jeremy Grant, who's been out for 2 weeks.
If you had no tie to the Blazers, and I just said, Tori, I am day-to-day with an Achilles injury, what would you think that meant?
Each day you're testing it to see if you're good enough to play. Each day you have a chance of playing.
Right. Might be good tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
I'll let you know.
Yeah.
Might be good. Okay. So the Blazers have said now twice he's day to day, whatever. Yes. Tell me, if you are truly day to day, how did they know 36 hours before this game that he was out for the game when they released their injury report in the middle of the day yesterday?
They knew the day before.
If just a day before they said he was day to day. So how did the next day you knew he was not playing the day after that day? Yeah. That's 2 days after you said he was day to day.
Well, they said he was
already know he can't play that day.
They said he was day-to-day yesterday and came out with the injury report, right? The update was yesterday, but still, it doesn't change your point at all. You knew he was out 36 hours before he plays, but yet you're still sitting here saying he's day-to-day.
So that means he's out at least 2 days, right? That's not day-to-day. He's out at least 2 days. Like, and if he does, I mean, they don't have to announce the injury report until afternoon tomorrow because they're on a back-to-back. So it doesn't matter. But, I mean, he's not playing tomorrow, right? Like, I doubt he's playing tomorrow. I mean, maybe they'll surprise all of us, and then I'll look stupid for saying this. But if he's out tomorrow, then he for sure was. I mean, I seriously doubt they're playing him tomorrow, right? And so,
well, he's on the road trip. Why even bring him on the road trip if you're just going to say he's out the entire road trip? Why mention that you brought him on the road trip if you're just going to say he's out the entire road trip? This is the last road game is tomorrow.
Right. So, I don't know, man.
I don't know either. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, but it's the Blazers for you.
Do we cover all the players? I don't know.
Yeah,
it's just,
that was everybody they updated.
Yeah. It's frustrating to me. I don't know. And it's not, for the record, we're not looking to be frustrated. I am sick of that narrative. Like, forever, I have wanted to not be sick of my favorite sports team and be like, wow, this is awesome. I love the Blazers. This is so cool. They're winning games and doing all this stuff. I don't want them to be bad and suck and make the
there's
wrong
just
draft
a lot
pick
of
at number
people
16
there's just a lot of people that don't know how to have a conversation about the stuff that you or I talk about, but if it's questioning the organization, they have an issue with it.
Yeah.
But instead of like saying why they think it's not fair to question the organization for something, they immediately resort to making it personal and attacking us as people. Which is just pathetic, but that's the internet for you, right? So it's very dumb to me. People that do that, it's A, toxic positivity. It's B, not even being willing to engage in a point of view that's not your own. And C, you don't even have a point. You don't even have a point of your own. If you're just going to go at people for questioning the injuries and the timetables and this and that, and you just want to say, oh, you're just always so negative, you're not even talking about the matter at hand. So that's unfortunately the way toxic positivity works. It's a lot of what we see. So that's a lot of the problems we have when people come in here and disagree is they really struggle at actually having a conversation about what we're talking about. If they disagree, it's a lot of like personal stuff, or you guys will just ban me for disagreeing, which is misinformation, and we will ban you for misinformation. But you know what I mean? It's like always crap. It's always crap, man. I would love for somebody try and legitimately explain the way they've handled these injuries and these timetables and explain how there's no reasonable questionability for this organization. Please explain to me why we shouldn't question this organization at all, beyond just they're the organization, so they know what they're doing because they're the Blazers and they're an organization. Like, none of that crap, you know? So if you're mad at us for questioning it, you should have a reason why we shouldn't question it beyond just the you blindly trust the organization angle. But nobody ever gives us a legitimate reason not to question the things that we question. It's just more so attacks. You know, it's more so personal digs and crap like that. That's the way the internet is, and it's pathetic, so... It's fine to disagree, but a lot of people don't know how to. Just discuss, have a discussion. It's not two-way discussion. Anyway.
I think you should do what Fanatics asked you.
I don't. I'm okay. The injury report was just a reaction to requests for one, not a proactive move. I'm sorry. I will never do that. I don't like it.
I don't like it. It drives me insane.
My kids said that on January 1st, there was what's called the Great Meme Reset, and that doing 6-7 is lame now. You're supposed to do 21 or something.
Yeah.
It's going back to like old school memes are cool now. The newer ones are dumb.
I'm cool with that. Because I'm tired of the 6-7 crap. I was
You said it, 6-7.
All right, shout out to Sleeper for sponsoring the stream. Appreciate them sponsoring the stream. Use promo code Uprise. You can put together a parlay. I'm sure you can find your way into that combination of numbers if you love that combination of numbers for whatever freaking reason. I don't, but you can get a free $20 entry with the promo code Uprise and a 100% match up to $100. If you use the promo code, maybe I'll do it. I don't take requests for free. But you can get a free parlay with promo code Uprise. Free $20 entry, no deposit required. Shout out to them for sponsoring the show. Anyway, schedule ahead. Blazers take on the Spurs potentially without Wemby, and then the Jazz. If they could win 3 in a row, if they could get to 17-20, that'd be pretty cool. I said they need to win 2 of these 3 games. They've won 1 of them. So
last time they played the Spurs at home without Wemby for a chance to win their group at the NBA Cup didn't go so well.
yeah.
Hopefully this game goes better. Those 2 Rocket games are going to be tough, though. They're playing really good right now.
Yeah. Yeah. But I don't know. Win one of the next 2 and then hope you can split the Rockets games. Like 2-2 would be fine, I guess. Just got to try and stay above 500 the rest of this month until you get some reinforcements.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at least the Spurs play tonight, too.
Yeah, true. Anyway, that's a wrap. Thank you to everybody who donated. We'll be live again on the post-game show tomorrow. It might go live a little bit later depending on when this Niner game ends. And we will either be in a really good mood or a really bad mood depending on the Niner game. So if we win by 40 and we're not in a good mood, that's not just us trying to be negative about the Blazers. That could just be if the Niners don't win tomorrow and get the 1 seed, that would suck. So go Niners. If they win, we'll have a fun stream even if we lose by 40. That's how it's going to go. Anyway.
Or you might watch us watch the end of the game in pain or in happiness.
I don't plan on going live. I don't plan on going live until the game's done.
It'd be fun.
We're down. Nah. I don't want to. I like being able to stand in my living room in front of my TV. I think you might have fun, but then I'd be thinking about the way I'm reacting to the game instead of reacting naturally, you know. So, and I wouldn't be allowed to curse, for better or worse.
Just put a parental advisory for the stream.
Tori, would you hang a love jersey on the stream? I don't have a love jersey to hang, so I guess not. Thank you to everybody for donating. Leave a like on the video. Easiest way to support the channel. And we're out of here. You got anything else, Eric?
No, thanks everyone for watching. Appreciate y'all. Hope to see you back tomorrow. Have a good night. Happy New Year to everyone. Yeah.
Yep.
Blazers win. Yeah, go 49ers.
Comfortable win for the Blazers tonight. It's been a minute since we've had a comfortable win. It was kind of nice. Hopefully they can get another comfortable win or any sort of win tomorrow. We'll see. But shout out to Sleeper. Use promo code Uprise. Also, stay tuned. I'm going to do some announcement stuff. I was going to do it on stream. Ran out of time. I'm going to do some announcement stuff tomorrow in the Discord. Okay, we're doing picks against the spread where you can individually compete against us in the Discord. We have a bot set up for that. Also have a bot set up for a couple other things. So if you haven't joined our Discord
Discord yet, you're missing out. Make sure to do so. There's a link in the description box below so you can come in and participate with all the fun stuff we have going on in there. We're out of here. Have a good rest of your guys' Friday night. Have a good weekend, too. We'll see you tomorrow night. Until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers!